One of the most common forms of Easter egg in video games is a movie reference. These can be as simple as a quote of dialogue from a movie, or in some cases, an entire area dedicated to one film. In today's video, I wanted to take a look at 15 of my favourite movie referencing Easter eggs in video games. Now, this is the third video I've made covering this topic, so if your favourite movie reference isn't here, the chances are it was featured in one of my previous videos. Also, the one rule I've imposed on myself for this video is that I can only feature a maximum of 2 Easter eggs from one game, just to add a bit of variety. If you check the other videos and still think I missed a great movie reference, then the best place to let me know is in the comment section or on my social media accounts. The links, as always, are in the description. If you do enjoy these Easter egg videos, then be sure to leave a like so that I know to make more of them. And without further delay, let's get started. So let's begin with one of the lesser known games to feature in today's video. DAYMARE 1998 is a third-person survival horror game that released on PC in 2019 and the PS4 and Xbox One the following year. It attempts to recreate the atmospheric horror games of the 90s, even featuring a small town that is soon turned into a war zone, just like the early Resident Evil games. The movie reference of interest in DAYMARE can be found in Chapter 3. After restoring power to the gas station, head down to the garage to find this. So this is the very familiar sight of a DeLorean in a video game. Of course, the DeLorean is a reference to the DeLorean used in the Back to the Future films. Also, in the garage you can find the flux capacitor, which is of course used to power the DeLorean. So from one Back to the Future reference to another now. Generation Zero is an open-world first-person shooter with an emphasis on scavenging and survival. The game is set in a post-apocalyptic alternate reality version of Sweden, which has been overrun by killer robots. Now, I'm sure given the circumstances that many of you would want to leave Sweden ASAP. Well, if you head to the barn found on the west of the island, you may find the perfect getaway vehicle. Yep, it's another DeLorean. Props to the developers though, as this one actually flies away, though I guess that means we'll have to stay with the killer robots after all. So the numerous bugs in Cyberpunk 2077 have been well documented by now. But hidden underneath all of those bugs are some really cool Easter eggs. Now a lot of these are text logs that reference popular culture, which are cool if uninspiring, but this next Easter egg is a little different. At this location on the map, you can find this.
Don't walk.
Right, so there's actually more to this Easter egg than meets the eye. Firstly, and probably most obviously, this wall is a reference to platform 9 3/4 from the Harry Potter series. The platform was used to board the Hogwarts Express.
Excuse me, sir. Can you tell me where I might find platform 9 3/4?
9 3/4? Think you're being funny, do ya?
Of course, in Cyberpunk, the name has been changed so that it reads Platform 69 3/4. Also, you can see blood splats on the wall, indicating multiple people have tried, and ultimately failed, to pass through the wall. Now, what's funny about this Easter egg is, this spot was notorious for having NPCs walk into it over and over and over again. So, to make light of the situation, CD Projekt Red decided to add this Easter egg as a joke. I mean, I don't know about you, but I think it's pretty funny. Sticking with Harry Potter and his chums, the next Easter egg predicts a far less happier ending than the one Harry actually got. Scattered throughout the land of open world RPG Kingdom Come Deliverance are unmarked graves. Sometimes the graves are home to a familiar face or two. First up, the grave found at this location is home to a boy who apparently didn't live after all. So inside of the grave is somebody in a red cape riding a broomstick. Upon further inspection, it seems that the young man on the broom has something in his hand. That something is the golden snitch, a small golden ball used in the fictional sport of Quidditch. Speaking of the graves found in Kingdom Come Deliverance, there is another one that is of interest to movie fans. So it appears that this man was so fond of his horse that he was buried with its head. Or, and far more likely, this grave is a reference to this scene from The Godfather. So from a very memorable movie moment to a movie that a lot of you will have never heard of. The Doom series has always been good for Easter eggs, and thankfully Doom Eternal was no different. But hidden among the giant birthday cakes and secret cutscenes is a very subtle nod to a cult classic. During the game's final level, you can hear this.
Lemmy is God.
So the phrase "Lemmy is God" is a reference to Lemmy from British rock band Motorhead. The same quote can also be heard in the 1994 comedy movie Airheads.
Right. Who'd win in a wrestling match, Lemmy or God?
Lemmy. God.
Wrong, dickhead. Trick question. Lemmy is God.
Up next are two of my favourite Easter eggs in this video. The opinion on Call of Duty Ghosts are generally pretty mixed. Some believe it to be an underrated entry in the COD series, where others believe it to be the worst Call of Duty game in a long time. Now, no matter the side of the fence that you fall on in this particular conversation, there is no denying that Ghosts had some of the best Easter eggs in any Call of Duty game. Excluding zombies, of course. First up, on the map Fog, if you manage to complete a field order, this may happen. So your reward is to become Michael Myers from the Halloween movies, complete with the iconic soundtrack from those films. Of course, fans of Ghosts will know that's not the only famous movie character to appear in the game. If you complete a field order on the Ruin map, there is a chance that this will happen. So this time you get to be the Predator and hunt down your enemies. I feel pretty safe saying that Call of Duty multiplayer hasn't seen anything this cool since. Up next is a game that is full of movie references. Zombie Army 4 Dead War was one of my favourite games of 2020. Just because it was plain fun. Of course, the aforementioned references certainly helped, but if you haven't played this game, then I highly recommend it. The first movie reference from Dead War is a nod to one of my favourite movies of all time. On the communication breakdown level, you can find this. So this is a reference to the excellent Shaun of the Dead and this scene in particular.
Okay. But dogs can look up.
The next movie Easter egg in Dead War can be found during the Shadows of Venice level. So these two dolls are a reference to this scene from The Shining. Rather spookily, if you look away from the dolls and then look back, they'll be gone. Now, despite being known for having loads of great Easter eggs, the Battlefield series rarely references movies. Well, that was the case before Battlefield 5. On the Solomon's Island map, you can find this. So whilst we don't actually see it, this is a reference to the Predator. The Predator bleeds green blood, just like the blood found on the leaf, and of course you can hear the Predator's signature growl. For those of you wanting to try this one for yourselves, it's worth mentioning that the green blood doesn't spawn every time, and as far as I'm aware, if the green blood isn't there, you won't hear the Predator. Up next is Temtem. Now, if this is the first time you've seen Temtem, you may be led to believe that it's nothing more than a Pokemon knockoff. And whilst the Pokemon inspiration is clear to see, Temtem does so much more. Oh, and for those of you who think Pokemon is too easy nowadays, Temtem can actually be quite tricky. Now, the movie reference found in Temtem is a nod to one of cinema's most quotable lines. So that was of course a reference to this scene from Lord of the Rings.
You shall not pass!
Now recently I found myself playing more and more Payday 2. For a game about robbing banks, galleries, car dealerships and just about everything else, Payday 2 is actually a pretty chill game. Of course, having played a bit of Payday 2 over the last couple of weeks, I've been levelling up, meaning the unlocks have been coming thick and fast. Well, if you make it to level 31 and follow the Payday 2 community group on Steam, you can unlock this knife. So the Psycho Knife is a pretty average melee weapon in the grand scheme of things, but it does do something that separates it from the pack. If you charge up your attack with the Psycho Knife, you can hear this. So that is the same sound heard during this famous scene in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. Also, the more eagle-eyed among you may have noticed some writing on the knife itself. Both the names on the knife are references to famous movie killers, with Norman B being Norman Bates, the killer in Psycho, and Chucky's being a reference to Chucky from the Child's Play series. So the final movie referencing Easter egg can be found in VISCERA cleanup detail. On the Evil Science map, you can find this. So this rather gruesome discovery is a facehugger from the Alien movies. So that's it. If you enjoyed this video, then a like is really appreciated. If you are a fan of Easter eggs, secrets and details in games, then perhaps consider subscribing, as that's what this channel is all about. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon.